Morning guys. Well, back in my shed, still on this bloody blue bike. I've never done so many videos on a bike before, and I think it hates me. However, I got the front shank done last night. That's what I was talking about. These are what they're really famous for, but they do normally bend here. This bit here bends that way, and this bit here goes back, okay, or twists. To be honest with you, it's all a bit the same. This one, now this was straight, this had bent back, and it was rubbing against the fairings. It's a failure, it was catching. So, but I do a lot of other things as well. Had a friend contacted recently, a young lad came off the bike, hit hard on the floor, and he was worried that the whole system itself was wrong, and it turned out, which we believe, was actual handlebars were catching at top. When we took the handlebars off, the whole thing twisted still. So we knew it wasn't the main shank, or this was quite straight still. So it's still something up here. Whether we've got to crowbar the top out or put a different handlebars on, that's what we've gone for, and we're going to see how that goes. But the actual shank itself is safe, and it's always a worry. You know, last thing you want is your child or partner or something to go out on the road on a dodgy bike. Myself, I've been doing these bikes. I mean, I've played with mechanics all my life. You know, I'm an old man now, and I've been playing with these Speedfights probably specifically now about 6 years. So I'm no expert, and still things get me. Like this one, for instance. I think you see I'm pointing here. This bike will not run with the proper air filter system. Won't start, it won't pick up, it just hates me. When I put the old carburetor back on and put the silly little sponge air filters on, that I hate, it runs fine. They hate me. It runs fine, which is mental. You know, they shouldn't. But this runs lovely, 45 mile an hour down the road, hammering along, starts fine, stops fine, great. Go figure. Anyway, I've, you know, this is the bionic bike. I have done everything. But out of 6 years I've been specialising in speed fights, I've never done one thing on a bike. Just one thing. Here's one I made earlier. Ta-da! You know what that is, don't you? The gearbox. I've never ever needed to touch the gearbox. Now, here's my spare one. This, lovely. Can you hear that? You can't, because that's what it's supposed to do. Cut the cogs in there, basically. I've never needed to do it. This one, I think you can hear that rattling. It's moving back and forth. It means that the teeth must be, well, shit. Never for it. Now, I can't let it go out like that. So, it is literally just a few bolts. I'm sure there's a little bit in there. I suppose it all stems from when you were a kid. I took a gearbox apart from a car once. Bling, bling, and it was not good. So I've always shied away from gearboxes, you know. It's like a name you always hate, you know, and you know, that person's name always worries you. This is the same thing here. So I'm going to take this gearbox apart, and the problem I've got with this one is this end shank here is knackered. So it's going to be a case of taking a bolt out and putting a bolt in and cogs and so on. So I'm going to have a go at it today. I'm not going to do a video, and I've done quite a few videos. I think I'm going to give you guys a rest now from my videos. They are mental. Hopefully, if you look all through them, it's 30 odd on these. Hopefully they help out. And there is something for everybody there, okay? Whether it's just simply about the carburetor getting to it with one bolt here and one bolt there. Whether it's the top of the valve system for the petrol and the other one sucking it through to prime the carburetor. Where it's popping down halfwards and getting some easy start to give it a kick, you know, to get it going. Kickstart systems, they're a bugger. They seem to work or don't work. And when you take them apart, you've got to remember there's a little circlip, two little eyes on it, that has to hold the whole shank back. Otherwise, what happens, they stick down, or the spring moves slightly down. You always get a stiff, sticky or one. But kickstarts are good on these, electric starts. I've had so many bikes will not kickstart. Another bike, electric start only, you know, or won't electric start. They are just funny, and you don't know what life it's had. Whether someone's not serviced it and sits all day starting it, you know, just not enough to get it over. This one now has had everything done to it except the gearbox I'm doing next. And I didn't notice this bloody bit here. You probably can't even see it. just at the bottom of your screen. They've chafed it off. So it does mean that I've got to take it apart and see if I can get that other one out. If it comes out easy, out of there, fill it with gearbox oil. And I'm going to do this today. MOT at 3:30 today. It's about 9:30 in the morning. So I'm in my shed rather early, but I want to get it. I want to get it done. You know, it was this was close to being just dismantled and putting it into bits, or whether it was worth it. You know, and I said to you before, it's no 6 plate. It seems a shame just to do it, but this is the most work I probably ever had to do on a bike, and it is literally now the gearbox, variator, crank, seals, piston rings, reeds. The carburetor drove me mad. Another seat because that fell off when I first did the video. Now the front shank, changed both tyres. You might notice they're black now. Headstock. I've done every bloody thing, even down to the electrics. They can be a bit buggery sometimes. The horn wasn't working. It's only when you take the 2 screws out from the back and it comes away. There's another 2 screws inside that came away. The spring had moved. You know, a bit WD, put the spring back. You know, it's worth. If it's broke, then you're not going to hurt pulling it apart. That's my theory. If it's broke, you don't know what it is, and you start breaking things, not clever. So you generally got to have a little inkling, you know. I knew from having an electrical tester kit there was no power going to the horn, but there was power going to the switch. So it had to be either the cable, which it wasn't, or the switch itself. So you've got to have a thought process into understanding what it could, what you think it could. Go on Google, watch some videos. Mine, you know, if they help, great. I've done many on CDI units before. It turns out there was 4. You know, I always thought there was 2 at the start. There was the main CDI unit, get a bypass. That's for the immobilised. Then there was a little tiny little, you know, £10 one off eBay. And then there was an oil one because they changed. And as the models have gone on and I've worked on different models, I've found different ones. There's also a grey box 8-pin CDI. You know, so I found out there was 4. I had one before that only had the little cheap one, but not the 6-pin black one on this side. That's because it had an oil. So they've progressed slowly. For Speedfight 3s, you know I don't love them. A bit harder to work on. These panels I can get off in 30 minutes and put a whole new set on within the hour. You know, it's because you know where the screws are. You just don't think you do it, you know. Headstock 16mm both sides undoes, screwdriver tap them out, front falls off, you know. It's because you do them so often. So I don't mean to go so fast over them sometimes. It's just that it's something that I do every day. I know these are going to be 8mm. If not, they're 10mm. They're messed with. Sometimes a raw plug goes in and screw them in because these screws do go because they're on and off so much. Other times you can get a helicoil, I think it's called, helicoil kit. That's brilliant though. Just push the old spring in, tighten up. It's good having that on. But there you go, guys. Right, so for a little while, I'm going to get this gearbox done. As I said, it's only 6 bolts in there. Oh, let me just show you anyway. It's 6 bolts, this is, and it looks like it just simply comes off. I'm not going to touch the brake system on that side. So that's my job now. Take that off, lift it up, see what goo's in there. I've got some gearbox oil up there. I'll put some fresh in, and that goes in the back here anyway, so that's not too bad. And swap the gearboxes over, and then this should be okay. As I don't like these air filters, because as soon as they get wet, they suck in moisture into the carburetor. You know, I think I've shown you many times before. Yeah, I've got one here. But I thought maybe I might put like a little pot over it. Wouldn't look too pretty, would it? I've up-jetted it. I've down-jetted it. You know, that's what I thought. If it's like a 72 in there, it's getting too much. I'll put it right down to 52. Still won't have the air filter on it. So, you know, whether it's blocked the air holes maybe. I've cleaned it a couple of times. You know, I had this before, and I bought 2 new carburetors off of eBay, £29 ones. They're not really standard carburetors for Peugeots, and they don't like them, you know. I put one on another bike, it ran fine. I put it on this bike, 4 different carburetors, doesn't run. So, there you go. They've got their own little nicky-nacky news, and I think it hates me. But at present minute, it is running, so yeah, I think I'll leave it that way. I haven't started it this morning, it's freezing cold. I said I've got an MOT to do on this one. So let's just have a look, shall we? Turn on. Now I'm kick-starting it. I said this before, when it's freezing cold, there's a lot on the battery. If you've got a kickstart, use it. If it's in a garage and stuff, fine. They're all different ones. I've had, as I said, ones that don't like kickstart and ones that do. This one likes being kick-started first thing in the morning. So it's freezing cold. Let's just see whether she'll do anything. You know what I mean? not going to smoke up my garage. But there you go, that's an awful lot of hard work. You can see how cold it is in here. Why did I put my heater away? You can see how cold it is in here. But there you go, it's running. I'm going to change the gearbox. I'm not going to touch the carburetor, you know. Ain't broke, don't fix it, my dad used to say. And that's not broke now. So there you go. Check out my other videos on everything from car brakes, Bergmans, Kawasaki's, you name it. It's on there. Have a little check through the 150 odd videos. But I say this won't be my last one for a little while. So take care of yourself, guys, on the road. Bye bye.